I just love it when people lie to me, when they say one thing and mean another, or when they hold back important information. I don't know. It just makes me happy. Not. I never, in all my career as a minister and pastor and counselor, I never had anybody tell me that. I, on the other hand, have met lots of people, and it's true of me, who would say, it really makes me angry when people lie to me. Well, there's a reason for that. It's because all of us have this instinct to desire to know the truth. Okay, and then there's the other side of it. When a lie, there are lies that make me feel good. When people say, have you lost weight? And they know I haven't. It's just a nice compliment, right? Kind of a social convention. Or when somebody says, I think you can look for some kind of a promotion or a raise this year. I really feel that. And they, in their mind, they know that's not going to happen, but they think they need to tell me that so that I'll be placated and I'll feel a little bit better about I hate it. I just don't like it. I bet you don't either. There are times when less than truthful words can keep me from being in that moment hurt. But the truth is, when truth is distorted or withheld, it rarely, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I've never seen it in my life produce in me something good and healthy. Distortions of the truth, withholding of the truth, outright lies, deceit seems to never have a really legitimate purpose. I don't know about you, but that's what happens in my life. And actually, in 1 Peter chapter 2, the first verse, Peter addresses that. He writes, therefore, rid yourselves of all malice and all deceit, hypocrisy, envy, and slander of every kind. Well, we started last time into this list where Peter writes, rid yourself of all malice. Rid yourself. That's as though Peter is saying, you're responsible. You are responsible to initiate behavior, action, so that you can get rid of. And I don't think that just applies to malice. I think it applies to everything on this brief list of violations, maybe I would call it. Malice and all deceit. Well, it's not just some malice and some deceit, but it's all malice and all deceit. Wowie. Our world basically spins on an axis of acceptable amounts of deceit. You might disagree with me, and I'm not accusing you necessarily of this, but I just think about if you're a TV watching person, think about the television ads that you've seen. They don't necessarily come right out and tell you this big whopping lie about a product, but they imply things about a product that simply are not possible. Here I'll tell you it's my favorite one to not like is the toothpaste commercials that tell you by using a toothpaste you will whiten your teeth. It's not going to happen. I've never talked to anybody who's used any of those products and will say, man, my teeth are like 3 shades whiter just from using this toothpaste. I mean, I bought the toothpaste. My teeth are still the color they were when I was in junior high, which is kind of a dull yellow. It's just not going to happen. There are products that promise all kinds of outcomes that they'll never be able to produce. Well, it's easy for me to throw rocks at advertising agencies and the whole big lines of deceit. So it's way easy for me to throw rocks at political ads and politicians and things I see on Facebook and on Twitter and on it goes. I think what Peter is saying to us today, and the Holy Spirit through Peter, is you're not responsible for getting rid of anybody else's deceit. You're responsible to rid yourself of all your deceit. Now, obviously there are shades and gradations of deceit. There's the little white lie, almost innocent little lie that tries not to hurt the other person. Well, I don't think you have to hurt people with the truth. But if you're going to rid yourself of all deceit, then you have to have your first commitment to the truth. And that's why Paul, in another place, obviously, writes, speaking the truth in love, we will in all things grow up. Well, this is a mature behavior, speaking the truth in love. It's not easy. Well, I'll tell you another thing that's not easy, and that is that it's often not easy to see my own deceitfulness. One of my favorite leadership books that I've ever come across, it's not particularly from a Christian point of view, although it is very aligned with Christian truth and Christian thought. The title is Leadership and Self-Deception. And it has to do with just what the title implies. When in leadership, it is easy to be self-deceived, to believe about myself things that are not true, and to project to others about myself, about my leadership, about the realities around me, what is not true, and believe that I'm doing what's right. Self-deception is, I think, one of the most dangerous kinds of deceit. You know, you cannot deceive God. It's impossible to. Ask Jonah. You can't hide from him. You can't run from him. Wherever you go, there he will be. Well, we cannot deceive God, and I don't think you can, but don't we sometimes kind of act as though we could? Like, maybe you don't, but I have to confess I do. Deceit of all kinds. Rid yourself of all deceit. This is very difficult. Often you need the help of a mature and trusted other to help you look into your own life and uncover what you may be deceiving yourself about, and patterns, habits of deceit that have become so normal for you that you don't even notice them anymore in your talk and in your behavior. Rid yourself. Take initiation, take steps, take intentional measures to get rid of deceit. One way that you can do that is notice when you are even the least little bit deceptive. And really what that comes down to is notice when you are even the least little bit dishonest. That's a hard thing. And I don't want to imply that all you have to do is flip a switch. No, it's not that easy. It takes a lot of courage to do this. And I wouldn't advise you to try doing it on your own without the help of the Holy Spirit. But you already know this. I'll just reiterate. Nobody wants you to rid yourself of deceit any more than God does. This is one of the reasons that He's put His Spirit in us when we said yes to Him on His terms. Rid yourselves of all malice and deceit. And connected to deceit is the idea of hypocrisy. I grew up in a very rigid religious environment. I don't blame my parents for this, and there are very few people, individuals, I can actually blame. But I can say that the churches that I grew up in, where my dad was the minister, were very legalistic. One of the big problems with legalism is that it's impossible to sustain it. And so what you have to do is hide your missteps. And really what hypocrisy amounts to is saying one thing and doing another. It's, in fact, a form of deceit. The word hypocrisy comes from the Greek word that was used in Greek theater. There were very few costumes and very minimal kinds of props. Instead, they would use masks. You've seen, I'm sure, it's kind of just a picture that is like a trademark picture of the frowning and the smiling masks for drama. Those come back to the Greek dramas where the various actors and characters in the play, in the drama, instead of having makeup, wore masks. When we wear masks, what we're trying to do is to project to the people around us one thing when behind the mask there is another thing. One of my most life-changing reads was a book called True Faced. It's now been re-released under a new title, same content and information, but presented in a narrative form under the title The Cure. In it, John Lynch, the voice there are actually three guys whose thoughts comprise the concepts, but John writes about how we wear masks in the church. And one of the masks that we most often wear is a mask that says, "I'm fine, I'm great, I'm just great. Thanks for asking. And how about you?" When behind the mask, we're angry or frustrated or hurt or sad, even depressed. I am in an almost constant state of recovery from chronic depression. And I know what it's like to wear a mask that covers my depression because, frankly, there aren't very many people who enjoy being around a depressed person. And you know what? Sometimes I'm one of those people who doesn't enjoy other depressed people. I don't even enjoy myself when I'm depressed. It's a whole lot easier for me to wear a mask that says, "Hey, I'm good. Don't worry about me." I think you can be unintentionally deceitful and hypocritical when you are unable to be authentic about who you are. So there's that aspect of hypocrisy. But I think what Peter is talking about is within the context of the church. Hypocrisy within the church has to do with people who portray themselves as being better, more tight with God, more tight with Jesus, more in tune with the Spirit than they truly are. What they're trying to do is leverage this false, this fable, the mythical idea of their goodness. Why? Because they want to be better than you. Hypocrisy will destroy the health of a church. Legalism, I said it, and I've yet to be corrected on this. Legalism can only be sustained through hypocrisy. Now, in a similar way as deceit, it is a lot easier for me to spot somebody else's hypocrisy than for me to look in the mirror and see my own. This is one of the reasons that we need other trusted, mature, sincere, authentic, honest men and women in our lives who can help us see our blind spots. It's possible to be hypocritical and not realize it. I want people in my life who can help me unmask myself to see my own hypocrisy. Now, there has been for a number of years now a very big movement within the church toward accountability. And really, that's what I'm talking about. I'm just going to throw one tip about accountability here. I try to make it my practice that I do not make myself intentionally accountable to people that I don't know well enough to know if I can trust them not to hurt me when I fail, but to help me figure out how not to do that again. That's the kind of person I want in my life who can help me see my own deceit and my own hypocrisy, because I want to rid myself of all deceit and hypocrisy. That's a pretty big bite, and that's what I'm going to leave you with this time. I hope we get to connect with you again this way on Soul Care with Stevie Boy. Thanks for tuning me in today.